What is happening, Who Dat Nation? We got a little bit of a hype segment to get into because Saints legend Terron Armstead had some massive praises and said that the Saints might have the next great offensive tackle duo. Going to break it down here on the show. And then at the back half of this video, we always like to include a live Q&A as a part of our live shows every single week. So we're going to take a look at what our subscribers want to know about, react to some hot takes, answer some questions, and have a good time doing it. But let's start things off with the conversation around the next great offensive tackle duo. So I want to first start off by saying shout out to the NewOrleans.Football team, the NOF squad. They do awesome work. Highly encourage you to go subscribe to their content because they're putting out a lot of informative information around the New Orleans Saints, and nobody's more tapped in than Nick Underhill. But I'm going to give you my thoughts, and I'm going to share with you what was said about Talies, Fuaga, and Kelvin Banks, because Terron Armstead spoke with Nick Underhill about the offensive line. He was asked to watch every snap from Banks and Fuaga during the preseason. So it's not like he was just saying, hey, what do you think? Give us uneducated takes. No, this is educated. This is, very insightful, and he knows what he's talking about. So let's just start things off with what Terron Armstead said. I think the two of them can be really the next me and Ryan Ramczyk, low-key. I ain't even joking. They're really nice. I feel strongly about them too. Speaking about Terron Armstead, speaking about Talies, Fuaga, Kelvin Banks, and specifically on Kelvin Banks, Terron Armstead said that he was very, very, very impressed with his set and that his ceiling is very, very high. And funny enough, Kelvin Banks Jr. has been compared to Laremy Tunsil by multiple people, not just Terron Armstead. NFC scouts during the draft process said that he was very similar to Laremy Tunsil, very reminiscent of him. The concern around Kelvin Banks, he is a rookie. There is some things to work on and grow through. The usage of his outside hand, more experienced rushers will have time to, or will be able to time it up and have time to be able to, how do I say that? Have time to time it. That doesn't make any sense. They'll be able to time it up and have the ability to counter it if the outside hand is utilized against a quality edge rusher, an experienced edge rusher. So with Kelvin Banks, obviously he's got a high ceiling. He's got a very high floor as well. The number 9 overall selection, really excited about him. Terron Armstead, one of the best to ever do it in the black and gold. Also very impressed with the rookie. Now, Talies Fuaga also got some praise, but for what it's worth, he did say that he really, really likes what he does with his set. However, just not as crisp, and the feet aren't as efficient as Kelvin Banks on a down-to-down basis. That being said, he still gets to his spot. He still gets the job done. He still performs at a very, very high level. So for Kelvin Banks, he obviously is a player that has a lot of pedigree, but Talies Fuaga is a guy that was very, very good last year as a rookie. Shut down Myles Garrett, shut down Micah Parsons. He has a great strike zone timing, and he has the most pop in the run game along the entire Saints offensive line. So when it comes to the strike zone timing, it's a very nice skill to have because he can extend his arm out and have the full power with good timing against the player that he's trying to pass block against. He's trying to block against. He's able to pop out his arms and strike at full length, at full speed, and have good timing doing so. That's basically what that means. So just kind of wanted to try to paint that picture for you, if that makes sense. Again, got to give a big-time shout-out to Nick Underhill and NewOrleans.Football. Had some really, really good insight here. I didn't want to just take everything that they said. I wanted to kind of explain it to you and share the important stuff that I found very valuable. But more from Terron Armstead. Both of these tackles, I feel like they're set in that department. I mean, Terron Armstead is very excited about the future of the Saints offense. And the offensive line is all first-rounders and Eric McCoy, who's a second-rounder. And Eric McCoy is one of the best centers in the National Football League, arguably top 3. I would argue he's not 3 or 2 either. I'd say he's number 1. But with both of the tackles, it feels like the New Orleans Saints are set up for long-term success because you have your left tackle, you have your right tackle, you have both of these guys set for the future, which in my opinion is really, really good news, especially considering you don't have the answers at the quarterback position. Whoever is going to be throwing the football will at least be protected fairly well. Now let's show some love to the big fellas in the trenches. Get down and type Who Dat to show some love to the offensive line. We want these guys knowing that we support them and we're rocking with them no matter what. So get down in the comment section, type those Who Dats, and show some love to Kelvin Banks, Trevor Penning, Eric McCoy, Talies Fuaga, Cesar Ruiz, and the rest of the O-line. We're going to get to your questions, your hot takes, and what the chat has to say here in just a moment. But really quick, this episode of Saints Now by Chat Sports is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I, we make decisions every single day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss on any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Fellas, I know I'm not the only one who every time your lady friend's talking to you says, I'm right, you're wrong no matter what. Well, go ahead and put that money where her mouth is. PrizePicks, go make some money, because we all know that real sports opinions can turn into cold, hard cash if you just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get your picks right, you could cash in. And fun fact, PrizePicks, they invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can even double your money if one of your picks doesn't hit. Here's what I'm rolling with for week 1. I got Dak Prescott more on the passing yards. Obviously, that's going to happen. It's 1 yard. We're going to get there. So realistically, my lineup starts on Sunday. I got Blake Groupie hitting the more on his field goals made. I got Chris Olave getting more than 40.5 receiving yards, which quite frankly is just straight up disrespectful. If you want to fade these picks, if you want to tail these picks, I don't care what you do. Just make sure you do it with PrizePicks. You can make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn that ball knowledge and your hot takes into cash all season long with PrizePicks. It's the best way to win money while watching sports. Join the millions of users that PrizePicks has and sign up today. Download the PrizePicks app. Use code CLNS to get $50 on lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I made all of that information clickable in the comments and description of this video. Shout out to PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, let's get into the Q&A portion of today's video. Lopez's sneaky link. Shout out to producer Loco Lopez, and shout out to his burner. Hot take alert. I think the Saints have the most underrated roster in the league and have a decent chance to make the playoffs if we stay healthy. I don't actually disagree with this hot take here. I will say, because of how the national media and how the national narrative is painting the New Orleans Saints, they're painting them out to be dog shit. I am going to sit here and say they will not be utter dog shit. I think that this will be a team that does prove a lot of haters and a lot of doubters wrong. I'm not sitting here saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but if they can stay healthy, the NFC South is not that great, to be totally honest. No team in the division got that much better this offseason. So when it comes to the New Orleans Saints having an underrated roster, I do actually totally agree with you that the Saints might have the most underrated roster in all of football. Lopez, I want to hear from you, though, because your burner obviously has a lot to say.
My burner. Burner number 2, actually.
Yes.
But, just kind of piggyback off what you're saying, the Saints do have a very underrated roster, and I think a lot of players on the Saints are going to start getting some of that national media attention this year. I know we've talked a lot about Rashid Shaheed. He's going to put the league on notice this year. He's going to be one of the most electric playmakers in the NFL this season.
No doubt.
But I think there's just a bunch of other players on the Saints roster currently that's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, and you can only go as far as the QB will take you. So I do understand, if Spencer Rattler starts off the season bad, well, then the team is probably not winning a lot of games. If Tyler Shuck goes in and plays bad, then you're still probably not winning a lot of games. This year, in my opinion, is not about winning a ton of games. It's about building the foundation to achieve sustained success. That's my personal opinion. That's why you tune in. Can Taysom Hill legitimately become QB1? No. Taysom Hill is not viewed as a quarterback. He has been getting work in the quarterback room. I will actually, hold on. I'm going to find the exact quote, the exact tweet from Nick Underhill. Because there was chatter like, oh my God, Kellen Moore has been having Taysom Hill used learn in the quarterback room, and he's been doing this, that, and the other, and yada yada yada. Look, he's not going to be a QB this year. Where is it? I gotta find the exact tweet. Because you also, for what it's worth, did sign a Taysom Hill replacement in Tommy Mellott to be the to be like a practice squad guy, which could be kind of fun. But for what it's worth, I can't find the exact. Oh, yeah, here it is. Kellen Moore said Taysom Hill does his meetings with the quarterbacks because it gives him the global view of the offense, but said it's only for that. Hill is not going to compete at the position. He'll be an offensive weapon role, which is where he should be. Do not take Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck off of the field because no, absolutely not. And also for what it's worth, you won't see Taysom Hill back on the field until October, November. He's recovering from an ACL tear that he suffered in December, and he's 30-plus years old. Like, come on. It's going to take a while. So, no, Taysom Hill will not legitimately become QB1. He also legitimately won't be QB2 or QB3 because that's Jake Haener. At best, he's your emergency QB. DJ Muttking, should we value you a quarterback like Beck or Aller instead of Arch? No, don't even. Drew Aller, sure. Carson Beck sucks. Get him off the field. I don't want anything to do with him. I will never, ever, ever vouch for drafting Carson Beck. That's just not something I believe in. I don't think that he's a good football player. I think he's a walking distraction, and I'm good. No, thank you. I will pass. Different position, bigger need. I will say quarterback is not the biggest need for this team next draft unless you have the first, second, or third pick. I would opt to go with the best pass catcher, the best offensive weapon, the best defensive weapon. You don't know what you got in the quarterback room yet. So I'm in the camp of you don't actually need a QB quite yet. Let me get 2 more tickets. Hot take, bro. The Saints will start the season 3-0 before losing to the Bills. Look, I actually don't think this is that outlandish of a take. 3 wins would be awesome for what it's worth. You start the season week 1 at home against the Cardinals. Week 2, the 49ers come to town. They're a beatable football team. I don't know why everyone is so high on the 49ers. They traded away Debo. Didn't they trade away Brandon Ayuk, or am I tripping? Am I tripping? No, they still have Brandon Ayuk. They still have Brandon Ayuk. I don't know why I'm tripping. It's because of all those dang Steelers trade rumors I see every single day next to my desk. Shout out to Jack Sperry. Huh? Yeah, he is hurt, though. You got George Kittle. You got Christian McCaffrey. I know that that's a fine team and stuff, but I don't believe in the 49ers whatsoever. Saints will start off the season 2-0. You'll also have the opportunity to win in week 3. You take on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. That could be a winnable football game. The Bills, that's where I think the season really starts. And even after that, you have – I just had the schedule pulled up. Hold on. Sorry, guys. This is bad radio. Yeah, you got the Giants in week 5. You should take care of them. They're bad. Good defense, but they're bad. You beat them last year. If you beat them last year, beat them this year. Patriots could be a winnable game. Bears, Bucks, Rams, tough. Panthers, you'll beat them. Falcons, you'll beat them. Dolphins, you'll beat them. Like, there are some very winnable games. I think this is an opportunity this year for the Saints to prove a lot of people wrong. And I'm so sorry. I don't understand why everyone is so high on some of these teams that just, quite frankly, aren't good. Rip Stream East. Fun fact, Stream East took to Twitter and said that they are not actually been taken down. But we'll see. We'll see. What is the biggest matchup to watch in the Saints versus Cardinals? First, it's going to be me versus my football and hitting myself in the face. Secondly, what is the biggest matchup to watch? The offensive line, defensive line. The Saints O-line is going to go up against a really nice pass rush squad. It's led by Calais Campbell. They also have 5 new starters on defense. 4 of those are on in the front 7. In terms of the defensive line for the Arizona Cardinals, there's a lot of talent in that department. You have to compete against Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Baron Browning, Zaven Collins, Darius Robinson, who was a first-round pick last year. He's looking to break out this year, and first-round pick defensive tackle Walter Nolan. So I think, in my opinion, the trenches. Huh? Nolan's on the PUP list. Walter Nolan's on the PUP list. This is why producer Lopez makes more money than I do. Anyway, I will sit here and say this. The trenches is where I believe you will have the most important matchups. Also could argue Kyler Murray versus the Saints run defense. I think that that's also a fair thing to say as well. Appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. Rooster says Tommy Millott will play quarterback for the Saints. That is not true. The New Orleans Saints view him as a wide receiver and as a offensive weapon. So there you have it. My name is Trace Girouard. We spent the last few minutes answering some questions, responding to some hot takes. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.